Good morning, KMS World, and welcome to Mornings with Manners, the only morning show in the KMS world at the moment, despite the fact that Jon Stewart apparently wants to start his own morning show. So as usual, I lead and people follow. So joining me to start the show, I've got two great Minna fans. Finally, I get to speak to Lauren, the host of the Minna Ladies show. Welcome to the show, Lauren. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fantastic, and thank you for having me on.
It's so great to finally get one of the real sensible heads in the world on the show with me. And maybe you can talk some sense into me. To balance that out, I've got one of the biggest fuckheads first. Mayo, welcome. Welcome
Good morning.
back. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Where's your bacon?
You blew it for me last time. You acknowledged it was evening later in the broadcast. You pulled the curtain back on my elaborate ruse. People would have fallen for it otherwise. So I said, fuck it this week.
Yeah.
It's 9 p.m., everybody.
Spoiler alert. It's well past my bedtime, so.
I had a huge reaction to last week's show, so thank you to all the viewers and all the Minna fans that gave me feedback, and thank you to Smugsy and DJK for coming on. I was really proud of that episode to get sort of, I guess, three of the biggest trolls on the show, Smugsy, Mayo, and DJK.
I resent that.
Well, I think it's a great achievement of mine, and fortunately, Smugsy's gone as fast as she came back. I don't know about you two, but she's just such a drip.
I don't like the Smugsy character. I would have rather heard from Cynthia Dill than from Smugsy, because it seems like she's trying to satirize what we all do with parody accounts. But what she doesn't understand is when we come on these shows, we drop the pretense of the parody account. Like I don't speak as if I'm a mayo jar when I'm talking to you, Manners, or to Lauren. So for her to come on and do Smugsy, it's just weird. I don't quite understand what she's going for. Whereas Cynthia seems like an intellectual who is kind of a fish out of water in the KMS world. So she might be interesting to actually hear from. But yeah, Smugsy sucks.
No, I agree with that. Anything in the third person is, I check out immediately. And to use the word intellectual when it's just, you're making a joke of yourself, it's almost embarrassing. So I think even she has realized maybe it's time to go on the back burner for a few minutes. So
I wonder what's going through her head, though, to think it's funny what she's doing. Right? How messed up must she be to think what she's doing is at all entertaining for anybody, in the history of entertainment? It's just flat. It's terrible stuff. And I brought her on as a fuck you to Kirk because he was like, well, he let her back in the world because he was having a bad day last week. So I got her on my show.
And you got...
that was his fuck you to us, I think.
And you got shit from Featherston for it? I muted John Featherston. I'm on a mute kick, so I don't see what he says anymore.
I did because I made the joke that, Smugsy saved us all from Bob Murchison. And I actually think she must have played a very small part somewhere in it. If not a big part, but her reaching out to him would have been a very small part of it, which she's made a big part. And I just, brought it up as a joke with Smugsy because I knew it would trigger a few people, and it did.
It did, yeah.
I don't really believe that. Now, I want to start off, and this is an interesting one because I hadn't really thought of it until Zonka tweeted out about the interview with Donald J. Trump Jr. And Zonka tweeted out that, face it, that blowjob wasn't an interview. It was an unpaid campaign ad. It's become obvious supporting Kirk is supporting Trump. Point out the tough questions. Challenges to spurious assertions. KMS is right-wing talk radio that makes occasional token attempts to look neutral. Lauren, what are your thoughts on that?
I read that thread immediately when I saw it, and I think that's just the typical reaction as soon as they hear, oh, you have Donald Trump Jr. on, oh, it's right wing, and that's what always happens. And I will never say that this is right wing radio. It's common sense radio, and that's personally why I enjoy it. People might get a little misconstrued misunderstood because of Steve Robinson sprinkles in his, his background, but I'm not fooled by it. I find it to be conversation of all sides, and like I said, it's common sense to me. It's not agenda driven at all.
What about you, Mayo?
I agree with more of Zonker than I disagree with him on. And I appreciate you reading his tweet, because I also muted Zonker, because if you're a drip, I'm muting you from now on. So Zonker and Featherston and Blind Prison Mike is going to be next. But
he's already muted for me.
I think he's right that I'll talk about that interview, just that interview specifically. I can see why someone would think it was a campaign ad. Like, Donald Trump Jr. kind of came in and was like the bigger dog in the yard. And we're used to Kirk being the alpha dog. And Kirk was not an alpha dog in that. Trump just kind of rolled over him. Kirk didn't really challenge him on stuff. I think Zonker's right to point to a tough question. I can't think of any questions that were tough. And then the big thing that jumped out to me was, how many times have we heard Kirk say he didn't vote for Donald Trump and he won't vote for Donald Trump because he believes Donald Trump sexually assaulted women? He said it numerous times. And when he was talking to Donald Trump Jr., he just very quickly at one point kind of said, I didn't vote for your dad, and kept going, didn't make a focal point of it. So to me, it felt, I don't know, it felt like a safe landing spot for Donald Trump Jr. And it makes me question why Kirk seemed to want to appease him. And I don't know if it's because, like they said, they get a retweet and he's obviously the biggest guest they've ever had and perhaps could have the biggest impact in terms of, getting other people's attention onto the show by having him on. But they definitely did not want to challenge him. I don't see how you could listen to that and think that they challenged him in any way.
Yeah,
they questioned the Ailes. Didn't they bring that up?
They did. They did bring the Roger Ailes stuff.
Name right? I'm not good with names, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's right.
That's true.
But my thing is that, like, I came into the interview with the context of Kirk's been told in the whole show not to upset elected officials because of the Barstool deal with Penn. So you wouldn't want to go at the president's son about anything, and he gets his knickers in a knot about Barstool. Then, you put into that, they also can't get any guests on. No one will come on the show with them anymore, or anyone worthwhile. So, if they can get someone like DJT Jr., Kirk's actually, for once, got to be a bit smart and a bit tactical and not burn every guest he's had like he did on EEI, where they all hang up and say they're never coming back again. So I sort of see that to it. And then, you bring in the Steve's background, there's certainly that sort of right-wing element. So I came into the interview with that. But I see where Zonker's coming from. If I were to step back and just listen to this as sort of the first thing I'd heard from the KMS show, there's every reason you'd think that this is a kind of, not right-wing radio, but they lean heavily in that direction.
I agree. I mean, if you wade into the Twitter world around Kirk's show, I think it's safe to say it seems like the majority of Kirk's listeners are Donald Trump supporters. So if you're not really familiar with Kirk, because he's closer to this. I mean, he might be a little bit right of center, but I think his listeners are probably a bit further right than he is by and large. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's just my observation being in the Twitter world, that I see a lot of fans that'll express their political opinions and they tend to be leaning that way.
Yeah. And there's also, Kirk might say it's a comedy show. It's not trying to be a political show. And I see that side of it. But Zonker actually, sent out a tweet countering that he thinks if, fun interviews a few musicians, comedians, actors, not the son of a candidate in a tough election, unless everyone gets the same treatment. So, yeah, I come at this one sort of somewhere in the middle.
An example of someone who isn't listening to the show every day is what I'm taking away from these views, because if you've been following Kirk long enough, you understand he would listen to and have a conversation with someone on any side about any topic. So to take one interview, and maybe they just like the guy because he's charismatic and they didn't want to.
That's bullshit, Lauren. Kirk's smart enough to see through DJT Junior's bullshit. He just wasn't going to call him out for it.
I don't think everyone who's making these outrageous statements are listening every day. I think they just want to be contrarian.
Fair enough. Do you agree with that, Mayo?
No, I don't think I guess that would apply to me. I don't think I'm being contrarian by saying that. Kirk rips other interviewers all the time for having people on and not challenging them. Like, I can't remember the guy's name, but with Alyssa Milano recently. So, and this was just a case where I felt like Kirk was a safe landing spot for Donald Trump Jr. And he probably has his reasons for not challenging him in a way that if he had challenged him in a certain way, it would probably have been a one and done and they would never have the guy back. And I think they want to have the guy back. So they're going to kind of play it down the middle of the road with him. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but when you hear Kirk's criticism of other media figures, he didn't necessarily in this interview live up to the expectations that he has of others.
I guess then, Lauren, is it worth having guests like this on?
Yes, I would say yes occasionally, because that, like they said, he retweets that he was on the show, and that can bring in, viewers, and it does make for conversation. So yeah, I'm not as into the guests all the time, but I enjoyed that interview. I thought it was good.
I honest to God, I got bored with it I ended up fast forwarding through a lot of it. And that's not even a criticism of Kirk. That's just a criticism of, it was like, all right, this fucking guy just wants to yak. He's not even really interested in much of a conversation. He just has the same shit he's going to say here, and then he'll go somewhere else and say the same exact shit. And then he threw in one reference to Suit Man, like, hey, look, guys, I know what Barstool is, and I know what's going on. And it was like, well, you clearly don't know the Kirk Minahan show, because they don't really give a fuck. Like, you're not scoring brownie points with them with your sweet little Suit Man reference.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. DJT. He's trying to play to his audience at Barstool, trying to get those votes in for later in the year. So it was very tactical from DJT Junior, no doubt about that. As I said, I come from this somewhere in the middle, and my question is, I think whether it's overt or not, it's a political statement having someone like that on doing what Kirk did. And he has to consider, is it worth it? Because you're going to alienate people on the other side if you just keep going that way. He's not with Jerry anymore. He's, with Steve, and Kirk should take charge and not let Steve sort of slant it one way the whole time.
And I think I agree with Kirk. It was too bad. Like, he was reading the text from a friend, which I think might've been Jim Browdy. That was my guess as to who the friend he was referencing was. And it's too bad that people go to that extreme, because I didn't vote for the president. I don't think I would again, but I also know if he gets reelected, I'm pretty sure the United States of America will still exist at the end of the next term. My dad would disagree with me and think, I think I'm a right-wing.
I like Trump.
Nut for feeling that way. He's entertaining. I'll give him that. But so I can see where Kirk thinks, the left is being very extreme with their reaction to it. And unfortunately, the only fair comparison would be if they get Hunter Biden on. Let's see how he treats the son of the Democratic candidate. And I would think, all things being the same, if Hunter Biden could do for them what Donald Trump Jr. can do for them, I would bet they play it the same way of, let's challenge this guy maybe a little bit, but not enough that he says, fuck them, I'm never going on there again. Let's cultivate a relationship with this guy.
Now, the other big news in the KMS world was Kirk going to Barstool Radio Wednesdays, 11 a.m. He'll be on Sirius. I thought it was going to be live, but it's a pre-recorded sort of 53-minute show. I guess the first thing that jumped out to me was I was surprised how precious Kirk is about this sort of 53 minutes on Barstool Radio. I don't know if you heard the latest show, but he was saying, I can't just sort of come out of the recording of the podcast and then straight into the recording of the radio. Yeah, it's all going to get a little bit complicated. Do you think this is good for the fans, Lauren?
The current fans, I don't think it's going to change much. I think it's going to bring in new fans, which is always exciting. I'm excited to see, how they're going to go at it. This might bring in more of a Barstool dynamic, which, I have mixed feelings about, but I trust that Kirk will do the right thing with the opportunity.
What
Maya,
are
what
the
do you-
mixed feelings about the Barstool dynamic?
I'm just not I'm not a Barstool person,
Yeah,
so
me neither.
I I will I like Big Cat, I like KFC. I don't know a lot of the other people, so this will be like almost me feeling almost like a new fan, which is a little out of my element, but that's fine. New
I think
adventures.
I think the more overlap with Barstool could be good in the sense that, like, I like Kirk being the cranky uncle of Barstool, who's
Right.
kind of like fucking these kids these days, that sort of. And he kind of did that at the beginning. He sort of went to war with a lot of people there. So that would be my hope, is if there is more integration with Barstool, it's in a kind of adversarial way that only Kirk can do. But I think he's right, Manners. I don't know about you, but when he said today that he feels in his gut like it's gonna explode at Barstool and they're gonna want more of it. I would think he's right about that, because there's
Have
from
you
what I've
heard the-
heard, there's nobody close to him.
Yeah, the other people on the radio, they're pretty bad. Uh, it's a shame the show's not live, because I think that would have
I
been
didn't know
good.
that.
I wonder if there's a trust issue there with Barstool, whether they just want him to pre-record it and check if there's any things that are over the line. I know Sirius apparently sit in on every show. A representative of Sirius is there for every Barstool show, so maybe that's why it's being pre-recorded. But that seems a shame. But I don't like the way it's messing with the regular podcast time of release. I like, if it's a 5-day show, it's roughly released at 11 every day your time. I think it's important, if you're going to do 5 days a week, that it drops roughly the same time.
Yeah, they've been mixing it up on us lately, so I'm still adjusting my mental calendar, and now it looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit more of that. So, what can you do? To me, it's almost like getting extra. I'm sure Wednesday shows will be shorter because of that, but it's going to seem like a little bonus on Wednesdays, something different to look forward to.
I like the morning drops. We get the show. When I get up, the show's released if it's 11 a.m. drop. And I like listening to Kirk in the morning. You get up, first couple of hours, you're exercising, you're doing stuff around the house. It's a good way to start the day. So I would think if he were to do that for the American audience, he would get more listeners. Try and drop the show at 7 a.m. every day. Might build the audience.
Yeah, it is nice to start in the morning with it's like a little piss and vinegar to start your day. Yeah, it gets you all fired up. I wonder, Menners, about, you said maybe Sirius is concerned about them going live. I'd be really curious to know if Kirk admonished against them going live, because I'm not saying this, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, they're cutting stuff, it's hypocritical. I totally understand why they sometimes cut stuff from their show, but it does happen more often than I would have anticipated as a fan.
Of course you understand why they cut stuff from the show. It's
yes,
your motto.
exactly. Exactly.
The editing king. Anything slightly on the line goes.
Well, I defer to Steve.
We're not getting into this, guys. No.
See, that's why I brought you along, Lauren, for your sensibility.
But it does seem like maybe I would say maybe three times a week, conservatively, there's something they cut. It's usually Mike doing an impression of certain people, I'll say, that seems to get cut. But it seems so it happens fairly often. So I would wonder if even the guys would acknowledge, like, that maybe live would be a little too risky until they can get back into the swing of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've done both, like live and pre-recorded broadcasts, and I like the safety of the pre-recorded, knowing that I can just say anything, and usually I've said something that's very offensive and I have to take out. Whereas when you're live, I really have to sort of be wary of that.
What was the worst thing you had to take out of something?
Oh, I mean, mate, there's a whole list of things, like I've flagged off cricket players or coaches or whatever, and then realised, I better take that out. All right,
Are you the Kirk Minahan of the cricket world, Manners?
Not yet, maybe.
Did you piss off the Red Sox equivalent? No? Okay.
Not yet. Sort of, actually. I mean, our podcast is kind of like that. But yeah. I've got a question from a listener, and I wanted to ask you both. It's from who was it? Ziggy Robinson. And the question is, how would your friends and family react if they knew your involvement in the KMS world? So, Lauren, how much do your friends know and family what's going on, and how would they react?
Well, definitely more now because they know that I do a YouTube thing, and Madawaska, that was a hard one to explain. And I mean, it's pretty much just dismissive. Like they don't care.
They don't care, yeah.
So I know that's not a great answer, but it's
No.
it's true. It's like if my dad talks to me about, his hobbies, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's great. And then we just move on.
Did you try and keep it from them, or keep it secret, or you don't care?
Not really. I always have my headphones on, and even my kids have always said, oh, mom's listening to our podcast right now, don't bother her. So, that's pretty much it. So, just doing my own thing. I think the analogy has been made before. It's like following a sports team, and that's kind of what this is like. So
that's a good analogy.
You
What about you, Mayo? I know you're petrified of being doxxed.
Yeah, but I put enough breadcrumbs out there that I couldn't be surprised at this point. I'd be upset if people were dicks about it though. But so my family knows. My brother, I try to get into the world, and I've sent him links to like podcasts that I've been on or videos, and he just inevitably writes back a day later and says, I don't understand any of this. And I don't know how to bring him along. My 11-year-old nephews have watched a couple videos. I warned their mother, my sister. I said, the Australian guy says the C word a lot, so maybe don't show them that one. But I think it's mostly, I think my coworkers would be surprised, because like I have a coworker who assumed I must be like a super religious Christian because of the way I behave at work, because I'm very buttoned up. I don't really swear. So I have a different side of my personality at work. So I feel like a lot of coworkers would probably be pretty surprised if they.
Which one is the real Mayo?
They're both. They both are, man. People are complicated. Probably more this one though, because this is the shit that I think at work and just don't verbalize.
As for me, I don't think my friends and family would care or react in any way if they knew I was doing this. I've tried to tell my wife. She's not interested. She's like, whatever, just another thing you're doing. So, yeah, I don't think anyone would be surprised if people were to turn on Menace to Midnight and, hear me calling someone a cunt or something. I don't think they'd care. I mean, as you can imagine, I don't have the best language all the time anyway. So it's not like when I go on, my shows, I all of a sudden start introducing new swear words. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that word more commonly used in Australia than in the United States? Like if an 8-year-old said it, would it be a big deal?
Yeah, I don't like my son saying it. He's 10 and he's used it a few times.
Yeah.
I think there's more, and Lauren might be able to weigh in on this. There's some women just hate that word. They just hate it, which can't be you and Lauren.
If it's said quickly in anger, I can get over it. But if it feels like it's being forced, like if someone was just saying it because they were trying to be, to make it a little extra, it'd be an eye roll, and just like that's not necessary. So it's all the context.
What do you think how much Kirk uses it, Lauren? Because it's been interesting him going into an uncensored format. It's fun to pay attention. Like he loves shithead. I've noticed that's one of his go-tos. But he uses the C word a lot. But are you okay with it when he does?
Yeah. Well, as long as he's not saying it to me, I don't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
God, imagine what state the KMS world would be in if that ever happened.
Kirk saves the C word for the really special occasions. You'll notice when he brings that out, he's really upset or he really wants to denigrate someone.
That's the truth of any curse word. Like I don't curse a lot, and then when I do, people take me pretty seriously. So that's the beauty of not being excessive with pretty much anything.
Lauren, but it's so good to finally get you on a show. I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Because, I love the Minna Ladies show. Love it, love it, love it. And I often go to it for kind of the wisdom that it brings to the universe, the KMS universe. How are you able to sort of, I guess, be part of the world, but not, you don't seem to get ensconced in the hate and the bullshit and all the crap. You know, you seem to be able to sort of step back from that. You know, how do you do it, and how do you see all the hate? You know, there are some very hateful people on this YouTube channel.
I try to think of myself as literally like the almost the mom of the group, and I try to be logical and, you know, a little demure and, you know, okay, well, let's think about it this way, and let's, instead of just spewing insults at each other, let's sit down and think about it. So I kind of do like that I've taken on that role, and I don't mind it.
'Cause
So
women are usually very emotional, but you're not.
no, I'm a very cold person. So it works for me to be in this world.
Yes. Well, it's very refreshing. I've noticed as well that the whole Minna Ladies cast has, you know, really stepped up the, you know, appearance, you know, the makeup, great outfits every show. You know, was that a sort of a direction by you that the cast needs to work on their appearance, or was it just a thing that my constant barrage of suggestions to do that worked?
No, I would never tell someone like what to wear. No, I'm sure there's something too, like, okay, I'm gonna go on YouTube, so maybe it's time to. And for me with quarantine, like this is my one excuse to actually use my hair dryer. So I'm like, yeah, all right, we're getting dolled up today. So, as for the other girls, I can't speak for them. So
Well, they all look fantastic. A great
they're
cast.
doing a great job. Yes.
Great looking cast and great on air. I was trying to sort of work out, Mayo, this is going to horrify the customers. Oh, terrible shot there, Mayo's stomach.
Sorry.
How
Oh, my beer.
many women fans, Lauren, do you think there are percentage wise, you know, of the whole KMS universe? Because I sort of thought maybe 5% would be female listeners.
I was going to say 20%, but
20.
maybe I am shooting a little bit high.
Do you hear from many women
I
in the community?
We have a ladies chat room, so we all talk in there. There's I think about 30 of us, but you know, it's hard to gauge the Twitter versus the overall audience. I would like to think quite a few spouses can get dragged into it as well. So, you know, it has to be at some point a shared sense of humor, I would think.
Maybe.
But
Maybe 1 in 10. Where are you on this,
then
Mayo?
like, no, not for me.
No, yeah, well, Mayo, where are you on this?
On the
How many
percentage of
ladies?
female listeners,
Yeah.
I don't know. 20. What was your guess?
I think 5 to
20%?
10% max.
5 to 10. I think I'd be more in Menner's camp, but who knows? I mean, if not to make gender generalizations, but if Twitter's pretty combative, so maybe I don't know, would a female fan be less likely to be on Twitter taking part in the world because of how it can be on there? So maybe they're they're just not as apparent as some of the male fans.
Lauren, any gossip from the Minna Ladies thread with these 30 women? I mean, if you ever want, you know, to bring a man in there to the group, I'd love to. What's the goss? What's happening?
It's a lot of girl talk. Sadly, it's nothing really that interesting. I find it more interesting the flip side when a woman enters the world, and I mean, it's like the vultures are just swarming. So yeah, we try to be protective of our own. So it's a
Yeah,
nice
right.
little community.
Oh, you mean the guys or the vultures?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Bring it up. Come on now.
Yeah. I do remember when Blind Mike's groupie first showed up in the Discord and Kirk was pissed. And I remember thinking, like, he's right, man. That just turned like all attention got.
And now she's the Bachelorette, so
Yeah,
we've kind of gone
yeah.
full circle.
The Robinsons B&B turned a few heads, that's for sure. I guess finally, Lauren, then where did the ladies end up on nipple rings and Aussie accents? What's your thought on that combination?
Like, do we like it?
Yeah, nipple rings and Aussie accents together.
Oh yeah. You've got to be, you know, not too tall with a pierced nipple and a nice thick accent, and we're all for it.
Good consensus. Mayo, anything you want to add to the week before I let you two go and get on with your day?
Yeah, everyone's gonna probably not be surprised, but what about the 5K? So here's my thing with the 5K. I paid for 2 tickets. I was glad to. As I said, I agreed with Steve. I always compute it to, they give us this show for free. If Kirk just DM me and said, Mayo, give me $80, right? And Venmo me $80 because I give you this for free. I'd be like, sure, Kirk. So I'm not saying I minded spending the money, but there was the caller Friday who they got really pissed off at. And I thought he raised a valid point. And I went back and listened. And when registration opened for the race, they described it as, yes, you get a t-shirt, but that there would be some exclusivity with access to the Charged app and the broadcast during the race. And they did say, you know, if you don't want to spend the $40, just go run on your own and send us a photo. So they did not deliver on what they sold to the fans at the beginning.
No, you are being a dickhead. You are being a dickhead, right?
That guy got totally shouted down over it.
They were pretty clear about the race. The whole principle was something to do together. You know, I know Steve's a fuckhead. He always makes mistakes. That's not in debate.
That's all I'm saying is he fucked up, but they won't even acknowledge it.
What acknowledge what? The money was basically for the T-shirt and to be a part of it. If you want to steal it from the Charge app, you can do that, but you're not a great fan if you do that. And
so, what about the drawings that they were going to do for every 250 fans?
The draw.
They promoted incentives that for every 250 fans, there would be, you know, a show that gets done at your house, charity donation of your choosing, you know, stuff like that. So all I'm saying is
they clearly said that Barstool was giving them a huge hassle about. I think it was a matter of doxing, actually, that they weren't allowed to like say the name on the air because there's no consent, or that was my understanding of it.
Yeah, he did. Steve did say that. I guess that it seems like Kirk has circled the wagons. They don't want to hear any criticism. And so when I hear
him, a valid criticism, Mayo. Like,
what are you talking about, Menners? It's about the race. Basic principles of you shouldn't tell people something that you're not going to give them.
You could have done the race. You could have got the bib. It was all there.
And I think a lot of it is literal spitballing on air. Like, oh, we'll do these drawings. And, you know, it's kind of thrown out there before it's all panned out. And then
I don't think they should do that.
Oh, really? I think that's part of one of the best things about the show. It makes it genuine. It's like, hey, I have this idea. Let's think about it. Let's talk about how that could work. And, you know,
yeah, but in this case,
not everyone's paying close enough attention to catch these details. And that's what happened with the pizza thing. And, you know, people are, I think, too eager to just pick at things sometimes.
Lauren's right on this. Mo's being a dickhead.
I don't think I'm being a dickhead about it, but in the recent weeks with Kirk circling the wagons and wanting like no criticism, the way that guy just got shouted down to me felt like, well, you guys talk all the time about how the listeners are customers and you don't want to hear what might be
very petty, very
valid observation about the way
very
they did
petty.
I agree with Lauren.
Picking at something that's not important.
They're building the airplane in the air all the time.
Bullshit.
When they probably should just plan it a little better and then present it to everybody. If they want to avoid, if they don't want people bitching about this stuff,
I think Kirk, you don't like the show, do
making it ambiguous.
You don't like the show. Kirk's right. I don't think you like the show.
He did. Matters. He did say recently that he never meant it when he said we weren't fans.
I know. He backtracked.
Put it this way. Kirk recently, they said about the Teddy Roosevelt quote with Tom Brady. Mike said, well, you know, why doesn't he know how stupid that is? And Kirk said, because he doesn't have anyone around to tell him. That's the path sometimes I see Kirk headed down.
Nah, mate, you're way off on this.
Of not wanting to hear from people about even just saying, hey, I would have supported you guys no matter what. But, you know, maybe next time flesh it out a little bit before you sell it to people.
No, disagree.
I think you're being disingenuous, Manners.
Picking at me like that, I would tell them, you know what, don't be in my life anymore. You know, just, I mean.
Yeah. We've upset Lauren. To start a day. But look, thanks for coming on, both of you, to, you know, Mornings with Manners. It's great to welcome you on the show, Lauren, finally. And Mayo, thanks for dropping in for your regular weekly segment. Have a great day, and we'll catch up soon.
You're lying on this one, Manners.
Fuck off.
You're lying.
I've kicked Lauren out now. It's such bullshit, Mayo.
You're lying.
How can you? What am I lying about?
I think you listen. I'm not saying they stole money. I didn't even say that with the pizza thing. But even back then, I just said, listen, guys, if you're asking people to give you money, don't leave room for ambiguity. And in this case, you go listen to
weren't
them
ambiguous. They
describe.
said,
Go listen
"You'll
to
get
them
the race,
describe what you
you'll
get
the
for your
car
money
jacket,
with
you'll get
this
the
event."
t-shirt,
And
you'll
that's
get the
not what they delivered because
It
Steve
did not
fucked it
run
up.
smoothly. It did not run smoothly, but that's another question. If people wanted to go and steal it from the Charge app, they could have, but they still delivered on what they promised. That's where
So
I'm
what
at.
if there's a percentage of people that they do lose over this stuff and they don't know it because they've created this environment where people don't even want to express any negative opinion because then they're going to get blamed for a 40-minute show and get a heap load of shit from people on Twitter and get ostracized in the fan community.
Yeah,
That's what I think they're cultivating, where you can't even point out, hey guys, go back and listen to your own episode from April 15th and tell me that that's what you delivered to your fans, and tell me that you were clear the entire time that things were moving and changing, which they weren't. That's all.
Yeah,
Why am I a dick for pointing that out?
All. I think you're being petty. I think they can take criticism, but when it comes to these little things about money, it becomes very much like listeners are complaining about spending $40, which I think is pretty good value. T-shirt, race, bib.
You didn't get the race and you didn't get the bib for $40. Everybody, whether you paid or not, got those two items, even though they said those two items would be exclusive to people who paid for it.
So people could steal it. So again, we have to pander to the thieves, and that.
No, but they didn't call it stealing. They mocked it.
The whole wrong way. You're looking at the whole.
They mocked it. No. I'm right. Okay, so when we get to the Wilbur show, if you paid to get in, and then they give you a free soda because you have a ticket, but then they let other people in for free, and they don't get the free soda, you're supposed to be like, oh well, I'm getting the soda out of it. It doesn't matter that they told me the ticket was my exclusive, pass into this event. That's okay that other people got.
It's a terrible.
I'm just saying they didn't deliver it the way that they
show in a theater and a community race.
Well, if they asked me, I would say, out of respect to the fans, who I know you have very forgiving fans, but maybe with whatever this next idea is that they're cooking up and they reference, like maybe work it out behind the scenes so that when you tell us what it's going to be, that is what it is, unlike the billboard and unlike the race. I'm
more curious how Kirk reacts to any criticism he's received over the DJT Jr. interview. That interests me more because obviously he's received messages. He mentioned something on Monday's show, which was a 2-listen job. I listened to it twice. It was so good. He said the 99.8% of fans are good or whatever. Obviously I think the few messages about DJT Jr. might have upset him.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe that was it. And I mean, I don't know. I talk to fans who will tell me that they feel one way, but they would never express it on Twitter because of the reaction. So I feel like they're cultivating this sense of any criticism. They're just like, they're going to be totally dismissive of what I have to say tonight when I'm just a customer pointing out, you guys told me it was one thing and it didn't end up being that thing. And that's okay. But it shouldn't be standard operating procedure. They should have their shit figured out before they ask for money from people. And I know Minifans are super generous and don't give a shit, and that's fine. But I don't think anyone would recommend that be how they. Well, I don't think you're getting into the spirit of things with this one, and we're just going to keep arguing about this. But Mayo, great to see you. And as I would say, always fuck off. Yeah. All right, that was Lauren, the host of the Minna Lady Show, and Mayo, that serial troll. Well, coming to the end of the show, I've got my regular weekly YouTube roundup because, as I've said many times, if you're not into the YouTube channel, then you're probably not a super fan of the show. So let's start with the Mincel show. And I predicted weeks ago the breakdown of the host of the Mincel show, John from Scranton. I could see he was careering towards a mental breakdown. And it finally came last week on Twitter when he tweeted this: if Kirk offered me an intern role, I would quit my job to have that opportunity. I make about 4 to 5 times Mike's salary. No questions asked. I would drop every cent to help out KMS. Not a joke. DMs are open, Steve. So that's a terrible tweet. It's desperate. It's pathetic. Everything about that tweet is wrong. Everything about that tweet shows what was coming for a long time. The plea for something for John Scranton. He wants to be part of the show, part of the world. He's begged to be an intern, and poor guy. I don't know if Steve has DM'd him about that. My thing for him is, if he wants to be an intern,
just actually, you don't ask them to DM you. You reach out and you DM them and make an offer. I mean, yeah, very strange stuff. So John's mental health is something to keep an eye on. The Mincel show was just awful this week. Awful, awful, awful. R.A. Minahan's always good, but, they went over the Cullen stuff again, and that wasn't the worst part. It was pretty bad because we'd heard it recently like 3 times. But then they went into the Mount Rushmore of breakfast cereals. I mean, what is this? What has the Mincel show become? It's become 4 guys sitting there giggling like little girls in the playground at school. It's pathetic. All they do is giggle, giggle, giggle. BA thinks he's fucking the funniest guy in the world now. John laughs at anything, whether it's not funny. He's the greatest seller of any jokes I've ever seen. So the Mincel show, horrible this week. And now to the Minifan show. Boy, did I destroy DEC when I appeared on the Minifan show last week. I settled the score there. Go back and listen to it. I think it was quite enjoyable. I got to clear my name after DEC spoke a lot of crap on his show. And then DEC introduced released the Best of Blind Mike, Volume 1. And I thought that was good. It was like a holiday special. And although I'd heard Trash Talks, I've been following Mike since the beginning. And so I'd heard all that stuff with Kirk before. I enjoyed re-listening to it, especially, the conversations about the future have sort of played out exactly as Kirk and Blind Mike predicted, almost 2 years ago now. So I enjoyed that. But then it made me think that if I'm being honest, I would have to say that so far Mike hasn't fulfilled the potential that I saw for him coming into the show. He's funny, he's amusing, all that stuff. He's okay, but I would say he still hasn't fulfilled the potential that he showed in the early days, and I'm not sure why that is. But I still think the problem with Mike is he's very replaceable. He needs to make himself irreplaceable. That he's so important to the show that they can't get rid of him, because at the moment you take the COVID stuff out and all the problems that has. If Kirk was just looking to change things up, I don't think Blind Mike is irreplaceable at the moment. He's good. I enjoy him, but as I said, he hasn't made himself so compelling that they couldn't get rid of him. He wants to be so compelling that if they find someone really good, they bring him in to join the show, not to replace Mike. So moving on from the Minifan show, go and check out the Mike special. The Intern show was a debacle this week. DJK was a complete dickhead. I mean, this whole attitude of him being too good for the Intern show and not wanting to be on the YouTube channel and all this crap. I mean, you want to be on air with Kirk. You asked to be an intern. Just either do it or don't do it. Don't do this half-assed bullshit in between. I thought that, Justin and Will were 100% right to call out DJK's bad attitude, because it was just, I'm too good for this show shit was just pathetic. I did find it amusing that Justin completely lost his fucking mind to DJK. It was a huge blow-up, a really good one. But it was no better than any blow up I did on my show. And he was saying to me that I should give up the YouTube channel because he thinks that it's not a net positive for me doing this stuff. And he was worried about my mental health. Then he goes ahead and fucking loses his mind to DJK. I mean, it was worrying, actually, concerning to see Justin like that. And, it's very hypocritical for him to quit the job as my producer because, he was worried about me, and then he puts on that display. I mean, which one is it, Justin? I mean, are we allowed to go on and rant and rave, or are we not? Is that seen as, if you do that, is it seen as going too far? So, yeah, fuck off, Justin, for that piece of hypocrisy. I was worried about Mike and the Minifans on the weekend, but then Mike turned it around and got some people in who'd competed in the 5K that day, and it turned out to be a really good Mike and the Minifans, actually one of the best for a while. But I would like to point out that Kirk went on his show and said to Mike and Steve about the KMS rundown that I was on with Mayo, that Kirk doesn't like it when it's 3 people against 1. So on Mike and the Minifans, it was Mike, Justin, and Kevin from Bristol, and then they brought DJK on. And I know he asked to be on, so that it wasn't too planned, but they kind of just all got stuck into DJK, and it turned into 3 against 1. And I thought that in this case, Kirk was right. It was too much. You know, DJK just resorted to sort of giving up because he was being beaten down. So I would have thought, you know, Justin v DJK would have been good. Mike should have kicked out Kevin and just let those two go at each other. So yeah, bit more production advice for Mike. Mike is the worst producer on this channel. Like, he is the worst producer, and I will go on to Drop the Mic. So he produces this show. It's not for me. He did 2 shows last week. He had the Rad Dude Cast guys on, and he had Mark Normand. Now, I only listened to bits of each. I didn't sit through them all because they're not for me, but I'm going to give you some advice, Mike. I don't think Drop the Mic's a great idea, but if you're going to do it, work on the show and have it once a week at a regular time slot and stick to that. Make it a Sunday night thing where, you know, a bit of light entertainment with you and a comedian shooting the shit. Although it's not for me, I'm sure it'll be for some people. Don't do what you did then and release 2 episodes in a week, because then what happens is people watch neither because it's like, oh, fuck it, okay. They give up. So I would say, Mike, you know, if you get like this, 2 people come back in a week, say we can do it. None of those were so timely they couldn't have been held back for another week. So again, you're just such a shit producer, Mike. Honestly, you're such a shit producer. You really need guidance that way. Pappy's Kitchen was okay last week. Like, they did a good effort, but they had Steve Robinson on, and we all know how I feel about him. So it was okay. I mean, what stood out to me was how dumb Steve Robinson is. He's grown up in this, you know, small part of Maine. He said, you know, for most of his life, he'd barely left, you know, a small little, you know, 10 square mile radius. And that plays out because he's, you know, got backward ideas. He's not very smart. He's, you know, very judgmental. All the things you'd expect from a sheltered sort of country hick type person. So, yeah, I hope Pappy's Kitchen needs a bounce back week after that one. But that's about it for the YouTube channel. There was a new show that came out Thursday. It was called Sin, Some Insane News. And look, I'm going to say, if the pilot's anything to go by, I won't like it because it didn't make me laugh. But I do like the host. He went all in. He put a lot of effort in, and I'm all for effort. So if you're going to put a lot of effort in like he did, I think, go for it. Give it a crack on the YouTube channel. I'm sure some people will find it funny. You know, I thought it was not funny at all. But I respect the effort. So keep an eye out for that one. Some Insane News, supposed to be coming Thursday nights on the YouTube channel. Well, and just that's the end of this edition of Mornings with Menace. Thank you so much for watching. I did get a question from the Munchkin, Hamstick Munchkin. Will I be allowed in Australia if Kylie does not win the 90s Singer Smokes competition? Well, Kylie certainly had the best ass in Australia for a long, long time. So she deserves to be right up there. I'm more a Natalie Imbruglia guy, so I hope she wins. But a very good Kylie and Natalie Imbruglia. What a duo. So hopefully they'll do well in the 90s Singers Smokes competition. Well, that's it for this edition of Mornings with Menas. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Lauren and Mayo for coming on. And I'll be back next